G'day and welcome to the latest video in our travels around Australia. My name is Ricky and this one is all about crossing the Nullarbor Plain. We've just spent almost a month in South Australia. We're heading towards Perth. But in this video, you're going to see the drive along the air highway from Ceduna to Norseman and then up to Kalgoorlie. So if you're interested to see what it's like, stick around. It's just a quick video this one, but I hope you enjoy. For those who haven't seen previous videos, Nat and I are on a 2-month campervan trip from Melbourne to Perth. This video might not be as quick as I'd intended. This 5-day leg of the journey was probably the part I was most excited for. I love the unknown and I get a kick out of things that are a little bit different, and I reckon crossing the Nullarbor fits that bill. We start the 1,375 kilometre trip in Ceduna, home to another of South Australia's long jetties, the last supermarket we visit for a while, and the first 2 holes of the world's longest golf course, the Nullarbor Links. More on that later. Our first stop was Penong, a place famous for windmills that are used to pump the majority of the town's water from underground. This is the biggest one, known as Bruce. Water would only get more scarce from here, and if you haven't stocked up on supplies, things will likely get very expensive. Nearby is one of Australia's most famous pink salt lakes, the awesome Lake Macdonnell. The pink colour is caused by an algae, and as spectacular as it is from the ground, it's even more impressive from up high. Nat had work the following morning, and we knew signal was going to be patchy over the coming days. So after playing another hole of the Nullarbor Links, we travelled a little further west to a free roadside camp with full 4G coverage. Continuing west, the roads were near deserted. We stopped at the head of Bight Lookout to stretch our legs and take in some epic views. This trip was taken at the end of summer, but if you come in the colder months, you're bound to see lots of whales here. During that time, the price is $16, but summer is off-peak and it was only $8 per person for us. Nullarbor is Latin for no trees, but as you'll continue to see, that's clearly not the case here. The roads are long, straight and flat, and while there are a few landmarks, the scenery is always changing. At one point, we had huge swarms of locusts coming at us from the west. They were absolutely everywhere and left the van splattered in fluorescent yellow. And I'm guessing some of you would have preferred not to see this. We spent the night on the border of the Nullarbor National Park at the Nullarbor Roadhouse. Most of the traffic here is road trains pulling in to refuel and get a meal. There was also a few remaining backpackers, as well as a couple of caravanners. A powered campervan site here cost $35, and surprisingly, Nat was able to tune it despite only having 3G reception. Perhaps it's because we were parked less than 100 metres from the tower. Being in this part of the world really does feel like you've gone back in time. So a bit more of the retro music as we continue the journey towards Western Australia, stopping to say hello to a bobtail lizard and take in more amazing views of the Great Australian Bight. Before we cross into Western Australia, let me show you a little of the Nullarbor Links, the world's longest golf course spread across almost 900 miles of the Nullarbor. I'm usually pretty happy if I score under 100, and it's fair to say Nat hasn't played much. But this isn't a golf course for golfers. It's a fun, quirky way to break up a long journey. In Ceduna, we picked up scorecards, an optimistic 2 balls each, and a set of hire clubs, which consisted of a 5-wood, 3 irons and a putter. A total cost of $182. I've seen better fairways. Hey! After shooting
double digits on most holes, or close enough. Birdie putt, bring it on. Gutless.
Only 6 of the 18 holes are in South Australia, and sadly, that bogey was the highlight so far. With that, our time in the state had come to an end. We disposed of our remaining fresh produce into quarantine bins and crossed the border into Western Australia.
If you're looking for pleasure, look no further, love. If you want that flower, you must wait to pick it up. When the sky grows dark, patience, love. Wait a minute longer, she will surely fill your cup to be cut.
It felt great to be in WA. We'd been wanting to come here since returning to the country in March last year, and we felt a similar excitement to arriving in a new country. After grabbing a light lunch while passing through the border town of Eucla, we continued a further 75 kilometres to spend the night at a free roadside camp called Gilla Rockhole. We had lost our fresh produce at the border, so it was a tin of baked beans on toast for dinner while taking in the sunset and the renowned Outback night sky. Day 4 started a little gloomy, but the landscape was no less impressive. There were plenty of low-lying clouds throughout our time on the Nullarbor, but they would come and go quickly. Despite how it may look, it was March and we were never cold. This leg of the journey is home to Australia's longest straight road, the 90 Mile Straight. Here's a little look. Our spot for the night was Newman's Rocks in Fraser Range. Camels are known to frequent the area, but it was just the 2 of us during our brief stay in this remote free camp. The following day, we passed through the town of Norseman on our way to Kalgoorlie. With 12 of the Nullarbor Links 18 holes in Western Australia, golf became a big part of the rest of our journey, so here's a look at a few more holes.
This is hole number 9 in Majura, Brumbies Run. Not much effort has gone into this one. We're in Cocklebiddy. This is hole number 10, Eagle's Nest. Bit of rain. Apparently there's 200 mils of rain on the Nullarbor every year. Shot! Check out the fairways.
It's fair to say I enjoyed that moment. Some of the holes are part of existing golf courses, with the rest positioned at roadhouses along the way. Once you've played a hole, you head inside where they chuckle at your score and stamp your scorecard. Hand in a fully stamped card to the Visitor Information Centre at the end, and you get a certificate to say you've completed the course. A pretty cool souvenir if you ask me. After a pretty rough 16 holes, it wouldn't take a golfing aficionado to appreciate just how beautiful the final 2 holes in Kalgoorlie are.
Alright, we're now at Kalgoorlie Golf Club. It's the final 2 holes. Proper collared shirts and everything. This is like an oasis compared to what we've had. They've even lent me some proper clubs, so let's see how we go.
I'm pretty sure we played the wrong holes there, but not to worry. We'd had a great time playing the Nullarbor Links, and miraculously made it through with our original balls. Although I'd recommend bringing more than 2. You can play the course in either direction, and when finished, just hand the clubs back to the local Visitor Information Centre. It was night 5 and we'd officially crossed the Nullarbor. Kalgoorlie is actually the biggest city in the Australian Outback, and as good as the journey had been, we were happy to be here. If you come this way, you can see the Super Pit, Opened in 1893, this was Australia's largest open-cut gold mine until a few years ago. A more pleasant view was going along the streets of Kalgoorlie, which surprised me as I wasn't expecting such a good-looking town. That's it. I've got to say, I loved our drive across the Nullarbor, and I'd actually like to do it again one day, especially over winter to see the whales. But for now, it was time to check out some white sand beaches. In our final 3 weeks, we make our way south and follow the coastline to Perth. If you'd like to see some of the breathtaking spots we visit in southern WA, click subscribe and the bell and you should be notified when that's out. Until then, thanks for watching.